SBJ will be at the NACDA convention next week in Orlando, and then we are in Chicago for the Brand Innovation Summit, where nearly 200 brands and many others will converge to talk about the latest trends in sports sponsorship and sports marketing. Still time to register, and I hope to see you there. And this is your morning Buzzcast for Tuesday, June 3rd. I'm Abe Madcore. Another Chicago Stadium story is on the books, and this one includes the MLS Fire, who unveiled plans to build a $650 million, 22,000-seat soccer-specific stadium along the Chicago River that will be privately financed by owner Joe Mansueto. Now, the club purchased a 9-acre parcel of land within an area called the 78, and that is a 62-acre mixed-use development planned by Stephen Ross's Related Midwest, and they hope to open a facility for the Fire for the 2028 MLS season. Now, the venue would be open air. Renderings show a canopy over the seating area and, of course, natural grass pitch, and it was announced in a full-page ad in local Chicago papers on Tuesday. Now, remember, the Fire are currently tenants at Soldier Field, but playing there is complicated, and they certainly are limited in their commercial potential. Now, while Joe Mansueto does plan to privately finance the stadium, the team will seek public funding to prepare the site for development, and the area is seen as one of Chicago's largest undeveloped parcels of land and one very strategically located. And remember, the move by the Fire comes as several other professional sports teams in the market seek funding for new venues of their own: the White Sox, the Bears, and the NWSL Stars. So this pursuit for a new stadium for the Fire continues to build on the momentum that the team has seen on the business side under Joe Mansueto's ownership, and now plans for a new 22,000-seat venue along the Chicago River for the Chicago Fire. Let's shift to baseball. SBJ's Austin Karp reported exclusively on Monday that Apple TV is emerging as potentially the leading streamer to land some of MLB's media rights currently with ESPN. While no decisions have been made, it has been known with reports that NBC has interest in all of ESPN's current MLB rights, but a source tells SBJ that the offer from Apple would likely be more than what NBC would be looking to pay, particularly if that package was focused simply on Sunday Night Baseball. Remember, ESPN is in the final year of its MLB deal that includes Sunday Night Baseball, Wild Card, Home Run Derby. There could be a number of different packages here that baseball ends up selling. Any deal would likely be a 3-year deal, so that would line up Major League Baseball to have all of its national rights available to take to the market in 2028, when its deals with Fox Sports and TNT Sports also end. So they want to go to the marketplace with a whole bundle of rights. Could be national, could even be local rights. And remember, Apple TV currently has a package of MLB Friday night games that runs through 2028 as well. There's some familiarity there. There's some interest there from Apple and MLB. We'll see where this nets out. The topic will surely be discussed at MLB's owners' meetings, which take place in New York this week. Other topics include a look at the automated ball strike system, also how the overall baseball business is doing. There'll be reports on attendance and television viewership so far this season. We'll have more details on baseball's owners' meeting later in the week. It seems like every day on the Buzzcast, we're talking about the global events coming to the United States. And now LA28 got a big shot in the arm, with Honda coming on as a founding partner, giving LA28 its first new Tier 1 partner in nearly 4 years. And this deal is the 6th new sponsor announcement for this year. So we're starting to see momentum around the LA Summer Olympics for 2028. Now, financial terms of the Honda deal were not disclosed, but top tier sponsors start at around $200 million. So these are very big deals for LA28. The Honda deal, of course, fills a very important category, and it also solves some operational issues for LA28 because now there'll be thousands of Honda vehicles being able to help them run the games. The deal with Honda came together this year. Remember, Toyota previously held this category as part of a larger deal with the IOC, but now Honda gets a deal with LA28. It also includes a media buy with NBC Universal, and again, a big shot in the arm for LA28 as they begin to build some real momentum around the Summer Games a few years away. You know, I'm a tennis guy, so I have been watching quite a bit of TNT, TBS's Warner Brother Discovery's coverage of the French Open. It's their first year. And overall, I have found the coverage to be solid. I love a lot of the behind the scenes access and footage they have shown. I love some of the coaches' interviews they've done around the matches. Yesterday, on Monday, they interviewed Darren Cahill, who, of course, is Yannick Sinner's coach, on the practice court yesterday while Sinner was practicing, and it was great television. The player interviews on the sets, very enlightening as well. Here is my pet peeve. Please identify the talent on the set. I actually had to email our tennis writer, Rob Schaefer, a number of times on Monday and asked who is the talent because for days I've been watching and I didn't know who these people were. Yes, that is my fault, but help the viewer. I didn't know it was Coco Vandeweghe. I didn't know it was Sam Keary. I didn't know it was Chris Eubanks. Not exactly household names. I didn't even know who Adam Lefkoe was, and he's the host. He was casual in both appearance and communication, so I really wasn't sure what his role was. They do a nice job, but maybe it's just me. The body language on the set between the co-hosts isn't the warmest. But again, maybe it's just me. Now, that's my only pet peeve because overall, I have found the coverage of the tennis quite positive and enjoyable. So thoughts, comments, let me know if you've been watching the tennis and what you think about it. And I'll end with this, something different for the Buzzcast. Michael Strahan is expected to sign a new deal and stay at ABC where he co-hosts Good Morning America. Any new deal would likely represent a reduction in his daily hosting duties. I don't see how people do that show every day. Talk about a grind. Wow. And I was able to spend time with Michael Strahan recently in New York City at our Force conference, where Strahan and Constance Schwartz-Marini, who together created Smack Entertainment, talked about how they built their business. Now, I had never met Strahan before, followed him closely, and he was very enjoyable and enlightening. Strahan talked about when he was drafted by the Giants in 1993 that he would never have been comfortable being the subject of a documentary while he was playing, unlike today where there are so many documentaries and his company, Smack Entertainment, does so many of the documentaries. He said he needed a complete focus on football, and that's what he tells young players today, to focus on their primary job, football. He also said every player today wants to protect, quote, their brand, and Strahan said he hates when players use that term. As he says, quote, you're not a brand, you're a person, worry about your primary job, end quote. The morning I spent with Strahan, he had just come from the set of Good Morning America. He's been co-hosting that since 2016. He gets up every morning at 4:30, 4:45, which is actually later than I anticipated. And it was interesting how disciplined he is with his time and his approach. And when I asked him about it, he said, quote, I don't want to disappoint anybody. If I'm supposed to be somewhere to do something, I owe it to them to be there and be present and do the best I can, end quote. I thought that was a very admirable approach. He also said, quote, I like consistency. Be consistent. For me, it's consistent to go to work, be encouraging, be upbeat, say hello and good morning to everybody, and get the energy off in the right way, end quote. And you can see that about Strahan. He brings great energy to every public appearance, and he owned the room that morning. A very impressive approach by Michael Strahan. There's more on Strahan and Constance Schwartz-Marini in SBJ in my weekly column. Check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. And so that is your morning Buzzcast for Tuesday, June 3rd. I'm Abe Madcore. Thanks for listening. Stay healthy. Be good to each other. I'll speak to you on Wednesday.